Hello, Odie Hawkins.
Hey!
Yes, you got carried away with the
entertaining myself there for a minute.
Yes, you did.
Well, okay, having done that, let me say good afternoon, good evening to everyone, and once again, here we are, ready on video. And I inadvertently opened us up with a little music from the Brazilian instrument called the agogo, that little double cowbell there. And without further ado, I think, Zola, can we start the show now?
Yes, indeed. We're going to hear Billy D. Burton.
Billy D. Burton.
That radio show that you wrote.
Okay, a short background input here.
Let me first say that it was first aired July 5th, 1979.
1979, way back in ancient times. But at the same time, it's a very up-to-date, it's very unfortunate, it's a very up-to-date show because it details the life story of a man who was gifted musically, but at the same time had a very, very serious human flaw. I guess we're all guilty of that somewhat.
That's a wannabe musician who really was a musician who ended up developing flaw.
Well, you said it better than I could ever say it. He was not able to overcome the fatal flaw. I say unfortunately because it seems that in the lives of very many great jazz musicians, as well as others in the musical field, but especially in jazz, I'm going to focus there, were unable to overcome the problems they had with drug addiction. And Billy Williams. I'm not talking about the actor, I'm talking about Billy D. Burton. Sorry, Billy D. Sorry. In Billy D. Burton's case, he was a very gifted trumpet player. For those who can go far enough back, there was a great trumpet player named Buddy Bolden, who was known to be addicted to alcohol. And he was frequently unable to keep his gigs and to do whatever he had to do because he was drunk. And so it was in the modern era with Billy D. Burton. Without further ado, I'm going to ask Zola to say a few words about what it is she's doing.
Okay, well, I'm putting the CD on tell you how old that is. And I want to mention that
The United States and 42 other countries have asked for an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. This is Doug Foley reporting on the CBS radio network. The request asks the Council to consider what was termed the situation in Afghanistan and its implications for international peace and security. The debate is expected to get underway tomorrow night or
before we
Saturday.
get to
The
the
Russians
show.
can veto any Security Council
And so
resolution
with
that might be
that
adopted in connection with the crisis, but delegates favoring
grab
meetings
your
and an open discussion will have an
fresh
impact
water.
on world public opinion
Zola's
and hopefully
drinking
cause the
tea
Soviets
and
to
a little
moderate their actions.
tea. Hey, I love
Malcolm
you.
Toon, the former U.S. ambassador to the Soviet Union, said tonight American diplomats in Moscow foresaw the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan several months ago. Toon said the pro-Soviet government of Afghanistan was slipping, and it was fairly obvious the Russians would maintain their position by force. More in a moment.
all clubby.
A performance
I don't
story
think so. I turned it down.
from Phillips Petroleum.
So I hope you can hear it.
I wouldn't be here talking to you right now if it weren't for hemodialysis, an artificial kidney
Enjoy
machine
the show,
that I use because
the
my own kidneys
commercials.
have failed.
And the commercials will
The
see,
filter
well, the
in
news
this
will seem
machine
like
is made with
it's
a
just
The
right now.
commercial seems sort of atmospheric because it takes you into
This filter is the part that takes the impurities out of my blood like
He was talking
a
about
real kidney does.
dialysis machine.
So I'm certainly
But then
grateful
goes
to the
talks
people
about the
involved
news
in
in
making it.
Afghanistan.
With the system, I relax at home a few hours a week, and catch up on some reading, listen to a little Mozart or Haydn, have a minor miracle performed on me, and go back to work again the next morning. And I want to keep going to work because I enjoy my work. I'm Dr. Peter Lundeen. I'm Chief of Hemodialysis at the Brooklyn VA Hospital.
Doctors on dialysis.
Good things for cars and the people who drive them. President Carter today asked the Senate to set aside the SALT II treaty because of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. The Senate leadership quickly agreed. The administration also indicated it may take a number of other actions, including possible arms sales to Pakistan, which borders Afghanistan. A number of leading senators, including Democrat Henry Jackson of Washington, said the Russians may have felt they had nothing to lose as far as the SALT Pact is concerned.
I think the Russians were smart enough to know, because they have about 200 lobbyists from the embassy all over Capitol Hill.
someone burning like the show.
Anyway.
I know,
So
really.
with Afghanistan as a great target of opportunity,
We
they
were
didn't
talking about
hesitate
Pakistan, Afghanistan.
to undertake
And that
a
was in
program of naked aggression.
79.
The Russians have
And
sharply
when the
criticized the
Yelmans,
Carter administration for
they think
putting the
it's
SALT
something
treaty
that
on the
just
back burner.
happened.
Comment on that subject came from
Sit
the head of
down.
the Soviet
Sit down.
Peace Agency. Mike Lee has a report from Moscow.
Same old
And,
warlike
quote,
things.
as a pretext for this postponement, the president chose granting by the Soviet Union of military aid to Afghanistan in
Soviet
response to a
Union.
request from the Afghan government. The official news agency went
That
on to
was
say, quote, the
before
American administration and reactionary
bizarre
quarters
that
in the United States
Putin
interested in
land.
spiraling the
Putin
nuclear
land.
arms race have already long been working to procrastinate ratification of the SALT II treaty. TASS had earlier today attacked the Carter administration for what the news agency calls hypocrisy and lies about Soviet policy in Afghanistan, and characterized President Carter himself
Soviet
as being
policy
bellicose and
in
wicked in
Afghanistan.
public
Yeah,
statements about the
yeah.
Afghan fight.
Okay.
Before they
Mike
got
Lee,
kicked
CBS
out
News,
Right.
Moscow.
and we got
The
sucked
government is going
in.
to relax its opposition to the controversy of
Before
cancer
we got-
drug Laetrile.
before they got
The Food and
kicked
Drug
out,
Administration will
and we
allow
got
the National
sucked in.
Cancer Institute to make the
For
first
those
clinical
who are
trial
not
of Laetrile on humans.
up
The
on the
test
history.
period will
We
be for
hit
1 year
to the history
and will
because
involve 200 to
it's very
300
apt to
advanced
repeat
cancer
itself
patients
if you
volunteer
don't
for
remember.
Laetrile treatment. Canadian locals of the Auto Workers Union today refused to make further concessions to help save the Chrysler Corporation. There are fears this could upset the UAW's efforts to win ratification of a new contract in the United States. New wage concessions were mandated under terms of the $3.5 billion
Maybe-
package for Chrysler.
Anytime.
Maybe I ought to go check.
Your personality shines. Your personality.
How many cold tablets do you take a day?
If you say so.
More.
but
Yes, I say.
More?
You make-
6? Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. You
And
got
then more at night? Right.
wow,
Well,
stuff like
they're
that.
new.
I'm a
Take
pearly
contact.
girl.
One capsule of all your
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die of a
all
die.
day and all night while you sleep. That's the wonder of contact. Hey, you're the guys on TV.
I love it.
Yeah, we're the guys on TV. Take your contact. Take it fast. Give your coat to
My jacket.
They
When the girlfriend Linda gave me.
Look, when you came to work for us, nobody ever mentioned this ad agency had a dungeon. Here you go. All you did was forget to recommend radio as a primary ad buy. That's how Oxycontin became the biggest selling acne product in America. And Hill & Cohen built the country's largest retail eyeglass chain using radio. I forgot. Look, my late blue dog, I like Ripple Gum. What did he ever hear the phrase new and improved? Thousands of times people wrote it. Oh no.
It's winner. Call this station or the Radio Advertising Bureau. They brought you this message.
Former Black Panther leader Eldridge Cleaver was placed on probation today in order to perform 2,000 hours of community service. The ruling was handed down by a judge in Oakland, California, as a penalty for Cleaver's allegedly assaulting police at a shootout in 1968. Cleaver, now 44 years old, became a born-again Christian and is active in religious work. The judge said he did not sentence Cleaver to prison because he believes he has changed for the better and has rehabilitated himself. This is Doug Poling, CBS News.
Why not?
That's the theme from the Sears Radio Theater. Tonight, a program of love and hate with Cicely Tyson as your hostess. Here's a preview.
Billy, I'm proud of you. I never thought you'd be able to pull it off.
Well, let's face it, Doris, I don't know if I have yet. Putting yourself into a drug rehab program for 6 months don't automatically reshape your skull.
Oh, come on. Why be so down on yourself?
The Sears Radio Theater will begin after this message from your local station.
Hey, I see you're letting your hair grow longer. It looks great.
Yeah, I just got it cut at the Grabber Hair Care Center.
Got it cut? Why'd you get it cut if you're letting it grow?
Well, my grabber designer says that you've got to trim about 1/4 of an inch each month to get rid of the wear and tear on the ends where most of the damage occurs. Makes long hair look awful.
How fast does your hair grow?
About 3/4 of an inch per month. It may sound like a long time to get long hair, but it's the only way to get the shiny, bouncy, long hair I want. And it looks great while it's growing. We only do great things for men's hair, too. You're thinking about buying a stereo, but you can't go to a store.
He's talking.
Their everyday prices on quality equipment such as Sanyo is as low or lower than at the sales gimmick stores. Just listen to Sanyo's FT489.
Children's story.
Suggested price is $209.95.
But if your hair is just growing out,
Make a sound decision on your next stereo purchase.
give 2 years
The Sound Expert, 1 block south of I-270 on Telegraph Road.
he'd be pretty hairy, you know.
This is Cicely Tyson. Our story is about a man who seemed incapable of doing right for doing wrong. There were people who called him a musical genius in the purest, most uncommercial sense in which the term can be understood. He was a deeply troubled human being who seemed occasionally to yearn for a harmonious life, but denied the possibility of ever achieving it by using drugs, artificial escapes into false bottom utopias. This story is an attempt to show facets of the man that were never revealed to the public.
Listen to this. Listen to what Leo Leather wrote.
His agent.
On a scale of 1 to 10, ascending, we could easily credit Billy D. Burton, trumpet involuntary, man of 100 glistering jazz tones, with a 0. Our column refers to Mr. Burton's concert of last evening at Philmont Hall. Everyone was there but Billy D. Burton himself. Why he wasn't there could not be clearly established from the 10th row, middle aisle. His band was there. His trumpet was there. Elements of his charismatic personality were there. But Billy D. Burton was not there, in the sense that we normally associate a performer with his performance. Leo Leather. Who the hell does he think he is?
Yeah, who does he think he is?
Ah, come on. Now, both of you know I was out of it last night.
Out of it. And that's the truth, Billy. You were out of it. And Leo Leather, one of the most influential jazz columnists in the country, caught you in your act.
I don't care what this guy says. You were...
Ah, shut up, Percy. You wouldn't know the truth if it beat you over the head.
Billy, you've got to pull yourself out of this dope bag. It's killing you. I don't think anyone would have any trouble reading between the lines in this column. You've got to pull out.
I know.
When, Billy? When?
Don't know. Soon, I guess. I don't know.
And that's only the beginning of our story.
to an Elliott Lewis production of the Sears Radio Theater. Our story, Billy D. Burton, by Odie Hawkins. Our stars, Robert Dokey and Robin Braxton. The Sears Radio Theater is brought to you by Sears Roebuck and Company. Sears, where America shops for value.
Sears Laboratories work to maximize product value for you. Our industrial designers create pleasing functional product appearances while keeping your costs in line. For example, the Power Spray Carpet Cleaner. Its design evolved from the already successful wet dry bag. It's this design that gives the Power Spray Rug Cleaner a compact size,
especially down south.
and helps keep
If you had a house back there and you didn't have anything else, you could use Sears catalog pretty good.
Now that the temperature's down,
You might have to dampen it up
room
with
air conditioner. During Sears
You
pre-season
might have
air
to dampen it.
conditioning
Everybody's
sales, on
information.
sale now for
Okay,
$20 to
tell
$100
him what happened.
Okay.
Select bedroom.
I understand what you're doing.
$20 to $100.
That's right. Okay.
These are minimum savings nationally. Regular prices vary in some markets.
All the
Now,
adults
during
already know
Sears
I
pre-season air conditioning sales.
Almost everything you wanted for Christmas is on sale now at Sears.
Yes, indeed, men. Save 25 to 40% on selected men's suits and dress shirts now at Sears. Tailored suits are clearing out for spring arrivals. And some dress shirts for closing out in
That's supposed to be
style.
sounding like
Save 25 to 40% at Sears now while quality lasts.
It's almost everything you wanted
Yes, indeed.
Available at most larger Sears retail stores.
Nelson Riddle.
Inevitably, we find ourselves looking backward as we rush forward, realizing that what happened before will occur again. Isn't that the formula for a legend?
That ought to do it. I keep promising myself I'll get a new tape recorder, one of the fancier models that operate by remote control.
That wouldn't be as much fun for you, would it?
I guess you have a point there, Mrs. Burton. Now then, shall we go on?
Oh, yes. I welcome the chance to tell the truth about my son.
And Jazzway Magazine welcomes the chance to print the truth. You were giving us a brief look at what Billy Burton was like as a boy.
Oh, he was the sweetest thing. He was the closest thing I've ever known to a perfectly behaved child. He was always ready to go to the store or lift something for me. Never any problem with fighting or any of the kind of stuff that boys normally do.
And as a boy, did he offer any evidence of being musically inclined?
Well, I can't really say that he showed any interest in music. Not really. But whenever he went over to Sadie's house...
Sadie?
Oh, my sister, Billy's aunt. Well, whenever he went over to visit, he just seemed to enjoy blowing on my brother-in-law's old trumpet from the high school band. Well, I'd be the last person in the world to say he was playing music.
When were you first made aware that Billy had an exceptional musical talent? Do you remember?
I remember it. I remember it distinctly. He turned 14 that summer, and I was sitting on the porch of the old house. You know, the one we had before he bought this one for me.
Yes.
I was just sitting there, took it out from a day's work, when I heard this sound. First thing I thought was someone has turned on the radio. Well, it was like it was Gabriel himself blowing that horn.
What happened when you discovered it was your son doing the blowing?
Well, I did what any mother would do. I offered him a chance to take music.
Did he take you up on your offer?
Well, for a little while, and he would have kept it up if it hadn't been for that low-life crowd down at Bootsy's.
Bootsy's, the neighborhood club where he first played professionally?
Well, that's the place.
You've called Bootsy's a low-life establishment. Would you please elaborate on that?
That's what it was. A bunch of no-good rascals hanging around, just waiting to spread their evil ways.
This is the club where Billy was first introduced to hard drugs, isn't it?
Oh, no, that's not true. My son was never on dope.
14 years of documented evidence tells us that he was addicted to
much difference to the club owner. The owner was the mayor's nephew, and he could pretty much do what he wanted to, even having a minor playing the trumpet in his club.
Mrs. Burton, if you could single out one event that you felt was the turning point in Billy's life, what would it be?
I'd say it was when that woman came into his life.
You're speaking of Ileana Stamatis.
Never could pronounce that woman's name. How do you say it?
Ileana Stamatis.
I was being introduced to my own country after a youth spent in Swiss schools, courtesy of my rags-to-riches immigrant papa, getting away from art classes at the Sorbonne, a brief fling at marriage and photography. I'm still interested in photography.
How old were you when you met Billy D. Burton?
Please refrain from asking undiplomatic questions, young man.
Well, what I meant was...
Yes, I know exactly what you meant. As I said earlier, I was being introduced to my country for the first time. Dada's idea. I'm sure he never had a Billy D. Burton in mind when he suggested that I see America.
Was there some sort of formal introduction made when you met?
No, none of that, John. I made it plain that I wanted to be taken to, entertained by, exposed to the lower classes. The lower the better. I couldn't make myself believe that the lower classes were any better than the underclasses. All of them were purely American, in my opinion.
You were a snob, in other words. How did you see Billy D. Burton?
In my own country for the first time, and I was made aware of that class, the artistic elite, which is nourished by a bloodstream that does not depend on money or heritage for its position. I came, I looked, I heard, and I wanted two of them. Unfortunately, one was enough.
It was obvious that the lady was into something digging. What I mean is, you could look at her and tell she was out there. Anyway, she could pop through boots as looking like a million stones and capable of holding a mug at the same time had to be out there. It was obvious that the lady dug Billy. Now, I don't mean like dug him physically. It was a genius art thing. She knew he was somewhere, and she wanted to take him to other places.
How could I stroll in, see genius at work, and simply walk out?
Billy D. Burton, well, of course, professional ethics would prevent me from revealing the results of 7 years of psychoanalysis. But I can say this to you. Monsieur Burton was completely out of his mind. You understand? Très intelligent, but mad as a hatter.
I think we're coming close to who Billy D. Burton was.
It's like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow during Sears Rainbow White Sale till January 12th. Me stars save 20% on Medley Solid Purple Press for sale sheets in all sizes. Twin sizes $3.99. Also on sale, coordinated Medley woven and purple blankets. And Kimberly save 25% on color-made velour bath-sized towels.
We'll hold the show until you get that.
These are minimum savings nationally. Regular prices vary in some markets.
Now that winter's in full swing, there's even another way to cool off.
What are you, a polar bear?
Look ahead and look to Sears. They've really cooled off prices during Sears pre-season air conditioning sale.
Pre-season?
Room air conditioners on sale now at $20 to $100 below Sears 1980 in-season regular prices. Select bedroom, multi-room, and large capacity.
I was just thinking about
these are minimum savings nationally. Regular prices vary in some markets.
Available at most larger Sears retail stores.
You had some home improvements in mind.
Men and women.
So you asked a salesman to your home and ended up buying.
Billy D. Burton,
But the very next day, you had a change of heart. Did you know that on most sales made in the home costing $25 or more, you must be allowed to cancel within 3 days of placing the order? 3 days to cancel. Now that's the law. It's your right to change your mind.
and the Federal Trade Commission thought you'd like to know.
Shake off the
This announcement is sponsored by Sears.
The well-known path for a chosen few is straight uphill, but the path is full of pitfalls. 1,000 hours of psychoanalytic hair-splitting would not be able to reveal why one goes straight to the top and another one falls into one pit after another.
Listen here now, Percy. Listen to this. 2 nights ago, in a large club in New York City, Billy D. Burton, brass-tongued impresario of new feelings, flamenco soul Gabriel, the real jazz, led us into new areas of sensitivity. We may not be privileged to be exposed to such emotionality again, ever. This is not written as a prophecy of doom, but rather as a delightful warning to our European friends, the current beneficiaries of Billy D. Burton's second continental tour.
Well, when Leo Letter likes it, he shows it.
You said it, kiddo. What could be better to start a tour off with? Where's Billy? I'd like for him to see this.
You're going to hate me for what I have to tell you.
Risk it. Where is he?
In New York.
We're on our way to a Billy D. Burton concert in one of London's largest music halls. Thousands are waiting to hear him, and Billy is in New York? How in the hell could he be in New York when he's supposed to be on this train?
Doris, please, it's a long...
Don't Doris me, you gutless puck. I gave you instructions to stay with him every single moment.
I did, Doris, I did.
Well, if you stayed with him every moment, you ought to be able to tell me where he is.
In New York.
New York?
Let me explain. He had to make a trip to the John just before we boarded in New York, and he gave me this note. But I didn't know what kind of note it was until we were preparing to take off.
What note? What did it say? Where is it?
It said, got a little unfinished business to take care of. See you in London.
Why didn't you tell me this before we boarded this train at Harwich? Why did you lie and tell me he was sleeping? Why? Percy, if Billy doesn't make it on time for this concert, I promise you, not a threat, you understand? A promise. I promise you that you will never work in Hollywood again. Do I make myself clear?
Crystal clear, Doris.
What was this unfinished business about?
The usual, I would imagine.
Did we shoot all the dope?
No, not all. You want me to cook up the rest of this? If I do, we won't have a wake-up shot.
Who needs a wake-up? Who needs tomorrow? We got today, man.
You're fantastic, Billy. Really fantastic. That's why I dig you.
Would you still dig me if I was just plain Joe Blow?
Hell no. Then you'd be nobody. And we wouldn't have this high-grade junk to shoot. And you wouldn't be Billy D. Burton. And I wouldn't gain any prestige from being with you or anything.
Okay, let's not get deep about things. Now, why don't we just shoot the dope and forget about everything else?
You like the idea of losing yourself, don't you?
You sound like my string.
Oh, I hate this junk. This garbage going through my veins.
I do too.
And why do we do it?
Because we both are infantile idiots who are afraid to face our reality.
What's your reality?
My reality is being in front of a mob of Englishmen this evening. If my international watch is right.
Will you make it?
Who knows? Am I? I just might make it.
Now look here, Doris. We had an agreement. We have almost 3,000 people out there clamoring to see and hear the inimitable Billy D. Burton. I can't tell them he isn't here.
I'm afraid you're going to have to, kiddo. The concert is now exactly an hour and a half old, and there's no sign of Billy D. Burton. And frankly, I don't think there will be. I think you ought to tell your customers that and refund their money.
But look here, you don't seem to understand. These people have come to hear Billy D. Burton and his horn. And they may not want to leave should I announce that he isn't appearing this evening.
I know. I understand your position.
Why? Why?
I have been trying to answer that for the last 5 years. Come in, whatever it is.
I just got this. It's from Billy.
Let me see that. sorry couldn't finish unfinished business in time. Give my excuses. Love, Billy D. P.S. See you in Amsterdam on time.
How can he do this sort of thing?
Seems to be pretty easy for him.
But I shall, of course, demand a return of all advance monies and, in addition, begin breach of contract proceedings immediately.
The line forms to the left.
Sears Radio Theater will continue after this message from your local station.
So you see, just as you're getting into the story, the commercials come in.
Into the new decade with a Mustang.
Not any more news. The news at the beginning, the commercials throughout.
She's telling you right. She's telling you right. It's just what happens. But I think the
Enjoy the full-size luxury of the 79.
I think the musical
featuring the fuel efficient economy of a small V8 engine.
back
The 79
in
Mustangs look so much like the new 1980 models, even an automotive expert would have difficulty telling them apart.
Nothing like
only budget's price is different. There's also a wide selection of other economy cars like 79 Datsun 200 SX and 210.
Yeah, the commercials.
Immediate delivery.
And this was early in
drive models,
the life
Skylark,
of the Sears radio theater.
and remember,
But they
every
were
vehicle
only
carries
doing
budget's popular
Sears
12,000 mile
radio
warranty. Plus the car sales, 10 5
commercial
natural
later
footage
on.
next to
It
the
ballooned
from
and became
1017.
Agencies want to part of the action.
I think the commercials killed the program.
Yeah, but I do remember as a child sitting around
This is Charles Ironman. Right now at Lafayette Federal Savings, you can earn 10.4% on our new 30-month President's Certificate. Earnings are compounded continuously for an effective annual yield of 11.12%. Deposit $250 or more and receive a cannon blanket or a cash bonus. The President's 30-month certificate, 10.4%, and a cannon blanket from Lafayette Federal Savings. Tell them the President sent you.
Federal regulations require a substantial interest penalty for early certificate withdrawal. Rates are subject to change or renewal.
Giving you the same reception.
Come on, Doc, let's not go back through that again, okay?
I'm afraid we have to, kiddo, judging from the cancellations we've received.
Cancellations? What cancellations?
Well, the Cannes Jazz Festival is out for one, and we can forget about Moscow, Athens, and Budapest.
Okay, so they're canceled. What's left?
They still seem to be hungering for your body in Berlin, Warsaw, Stockholm, and Copenhagen.
Doesn't sound too bad to me.
Maybe it doesn't to you. But let me make you understand something.
Come on, Doris. No lectures, please. You sound like my mother when you go off on these little trips.
Okay, no lectures. Just a shot of truth, okay?
Okay, you have to be going on listening.
No, you're not listening, Billy. You're spaced on dope. And what I'm saying probably makes no sense to you.
Yeah, Doris, I still got my stuff together. Now, you know that. What time are we doing, Berlin?
10 o'clock.
Good. I hope they're ready for me.
What made you do it? What in the world possessed you to go on stage an hour late to begin with, and then insult those people by giving them a Hitler imitation and calling them all Nazis?
Did I do that?
You better believe you did. I quote, "You people are just a bunch of Nazis. You always were and you always will be." Man, are you out of your mind?
Could be. Sometimes I want.
Oh, I've got a terrible headache. I'll talk to you later.
You gave a fantastic performance, Billy. Otherwise, what do you mean?
Otherwise, I'm talking about those two numbers you played before you went into the Hitler-Nazi thing.
I played too?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll never forget you.
I'm sure. Listen, Percy, I want you to cop some dope for me when we get to Copenhagen. I'm fresh out and I'm beginning to be a little edgy.
Sure, Billy, but you told Doris to...
Come on off the soapbox. Forget that.
Okay, Billy. Okay.
I'm sorry about the content.
I'll keep it. Look, are you sure you don't want to fly? The boat will take a week.
Like I said, I just don't seem to be able to deal with flying this week.
Billy.
Yeah, Doris.
See your strength as soon as you get in, okay?
I intend to, Doris. Yeah, I intend to. Here's Leo Leather's latest. Listen to this. Even to the die-hard groups of masochists who have rationalized themselves into an acceptance of Billy D. Burton's infantile behavior, both on and off the stand, a bit of disillusionment seems to be seeping through the ranks. 3 evenings ago, fresh from an untriumphant European tour, Billy D. Burton alternately depressed and scandalized just such a group. In this day and age, to be able to use a word like scandalize is certainly indicative of how rotten things are in Denmark, which incidentally deported Billy D. Burton at the beginning of his non-tour. One wishes it possible to be able to give a more positive report on a performer who formerly offered us, with each performance, an earful of greatness and from time to time, a whisper of genius.
I think Leather's column says it all.
The hell it does. Now, where we booked this weekend?
I have a skiing date.
Oh, come on, Doris. I know you've got enough clout to get me in somewhere.
You killed yourself, Billy. Your record sales are uneven, meaning down. Your personal appearances have come to an end because you only seem to attract crazies when you finally do put in an appearance.
I'll reform.
Let's skip the pious stuff. I can only think of one place offhand that would give you a chance to appear on its stage.
Great, I'll take it.
It's close by.
Well, what kind of door are we talking about?
Very little. This is the Lodestar.
The Lodestar?
The Lodestar. Take it or leave it.
What about Vegas and Reno, one of those Hollywood spots?
The Lodestar is one of the Hollywood spots. Take it or leave it.
What kind of money?
Like I said, very little.
Well, the Lodestar it is. Okay, so there's this hippie type walking through Times Square. He has a sack full of wooden flutes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to present one of the 7 wonders of the entertainment world, Mr. Billy D. Burton. The Lodestar. I mean, this guy has enough bamboo flutes in a sack on his back to build a house, right? He's really excited looking for something. He stops a man who obviously looks like he's in the know. You know what I mean? With the long hair and all. Hey, buddy, how do I get to Carnegie Hall, he asks. Practice, baby, practice. Hey, who's that jerk waving the bugle up there? Hey, get that jerk out of here! Gentlemen, I beg your indulgence. Get that freak out of here! That's enough, Billy. Here, Burton, and don't come back. Don't call us, we'll call you.
Then what happened?
They booted me out. That's what happened. Kept my pay.
Why, when you talk, do you say the wrong thing?
I really do. Hey, Cookie.
Huh?
Cookie.
Why don't we get married?
Married? Me and you? Oh, I can see it now. Suitcase superstar horn player marries nobody.
Get the headlines, baby. I mean, really, everybody needs somebody, and I need you. I was totaling up the books the other night. And you know something?
No, what?
I reached the conclusion that you're the only woman I know who has stuck by me always.
Your manager is still in your corner.
I don't want to talk about her. I want to talk about us.
Come on, Billy boy, skip the emotional trip. I got a path that stretches around the corner and it's filled with bums, creeps, you name it.
Cookie, maybe we could kick together. You know we have to sometime. You know that, don't you? There's even less a future for either of us, together or apart, shooting heroin.
Billy, I can tell that you're sincere. Let me think it over for a bit, okay?
Okay. Just remember, the third time round is always the easiest. Did we shoot the last of the dope?
I'm not going to stand for this. We've been married 3 months and you haven't spent one night at home with me. Not one.
Well, business to be taken care of, sweetheart. You know how it is.
Don't give me that. Your manager calls. I leave the messages to contact her. She calls me back, wanting to know what happened. And all I can say is, I gave him the message. And you're going to try to tell me you're taking care of some kind of business?
Well, who are you to talk? What are you doing packing that?
I was feeding us, paying rent, keeping us supplied with dope, and trying to twist your head around straight. But now I'm leaving.
Cookie, you can't. Baby, you can't leave me.
Watch very carefully.
Can you see?
Yes. Milton.
Billy, I'm proud of you. I never thought you'd be able to pull it off.
Well, let's face it, Doris, I don't know if I have yet. Putting yourself into a drug rehab program for 6 months don't automatically reshape your skull.
Oh, come on. Why be so down on yourself? If you can kick a drug habit, you can fight all the rest of the demons. Now, how about joining me for a taste of my poison?
Scotch and soda?
Right on the money, kiddo. Right on the money. Now, let's have an understanding about this Tahoe gig. Nick Ross was and is an old fan of yours. He's willing to come close to top dollar for his room, with the option of holding you over it if everything works out all right.
Well, don't worry. I'm on the right track.
Good. You've got 2 weeks to prepare for the first show.
2 weeks?
Well, you could take longer if you wanted to, but we felt the sooner you got back onto the track, the better.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Terrific. Now, the crucial part. The money isn't great, but the room has prestige, and it means you'll be given a hearing by you-know-who. Leo Leather says, quote, "Once again, Billy D. Burton failed to pull through his latest crisis. If he had offered us any indication that his recent stay in a drug rehabilitation unit had served any purpose, I think most of his audience would have offered goodwill with their tepid applause. Such an offer from Billy D. Burton was not forthcoming. Opening night. I was not able to attend the second show, nor was Billy D. Burton, according to my usual reliable sources." Oh, why, Billy? Why?
What?
Why anything? Why you didn't make the second show? Why you didn't make the first show on time the second night? Why don't you pull your act together?
My act is together.
Like hell it is.
Think you received your share of the rewards.
No reward could ever compensate me for what I've had to go through with you. Bailing you out of one mess after another, trying to convince club owners and myself that you were stable enough to have a gig in their club, untangling your crazy money-making schemes.
Speaking of money.
Don't speak of it because you don't have any.
You mean I don't have any?
You heard me. You don't have any money. You've blown it all, most of it in your veins. You are back on the stuff, aren't you?
Better know it.
Since when, Billy?
Since the day after I got out of the drug rehab program.
could do that.
Mom, why are we going to a baby shower when it's snowing outside?
Because babies happen any time of the year, and Sears Baby Shop knows it. Because rain or shine, they have just about everything imaginable to give babies. A shower of gift choices like cribs, strollers, high chairs, play suits, diapers, and sleepers, bibs and rattles too, and all in one place. Sears is the way to find the right baby shower gift.
If I ever go to Sears Baby Shop, I'll bring my umbrella.
Home.
Sears Die Hard Battery, the cold room test. The Die Hard equipped car in a special room at 0 degrees Fahrenheit and gradually dropped the temperature. 5 hours later, it was 20 below. 8 hours later, 30 below. After only 2.5 seconds,
Jackie McLean.
Test certified by United States Auto Club. The Sears Die Hard, the battery that lives up to its name. Sold only at Sears.
I wonder how many classical violin.
Why did I vow to type my New Year resolutions? Please, Sears corrector typewriter, make this easy. Okay, first, type backspace to the incorrect letter. Tap the correction key, look at the mistake, type the correct letter, and proceed. Alright.
Andre Bocelli the other night. Bocelli.
Available at most larger Sears
And
retail
how many
stores.
people in the audience? I'll tell you.
Cicely Tyson again, and here's the concluding act of Billy D. Burton.
What did you say your name was?
You hard of hearing or something? Billy D. Burton.
What does the initial stand for?
Well, some people say the D is for damned. My mother says it's for Dylan.
Then you are the Billy D. Burton.
Yep, I am the Billy D. Burton. And I'm broke, and I'm applying for welfare, and you're a social worker, and you bought all my albums, and you're one of my greatest fans, right?
Oh, that happens to be true. But I'm beginning to feel a little nauseated from the way you make it sound.
I'm sorry, baby. I guess I'm feeling pretty negative about a lot of things these days.
Yes, I understand. Now then, you know you are eligible for a grant. We have a category for unmarried, poverty-stricken, single male.
That's me.
I'm pinching myself. I mean, well, you wouldn't understand. I mean, let's face it. You are Billy D. Burton. How could you understand what that means?
But maybe I can. Want to try me?
Maybe.
Well, forget about lunch. I can hardly afford meat.
You like boiled hot dogs? I only live a couple of blocks from here. Well, this is it. I've got a little rosé in the fridge if you'd like something.
Nothing stronger?
Well, I'm fresh out of all that cocaine and heroin and the rest of the stuff you reputed to use.
You really know a lot about me, huh?
I wonder what I read in the papers. How do you like your hot dog? Medium rare, well done, or what?
Once around lightly.
Helen Martin.
Billy, are you aware that we've known each other for almost 5 months?
No. I wasn't aware.
And are you also aware that you've been drinking gin straight with your scrambled eggs and toast for the last 3 weeks?
No, is that so? I mean, so what?
Well, I mean, what are you planning to do other than drink gin every morning? And whatever it is that you do after I go to work.
Well, what is it you'd like to have me to do?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Good afternoon, Doris Dobson's agency.
This is Billy Burton. Let me speak to Doris.
One moment, please.
Billy?
Yeah, this is Billy. What's happening, Doris?
Oh, you know, same old number. What's happening with you?
think I called?
I have no idea why you called, and I'm not particularly interested.
Ain't they called?
What does that mean?
You figure it out. Look, I'm a little busy right now. What was it you wanted?
I need a gig, Doris. I need to work. I'm falling apart.
I can't help you, Billy.
Oh, come on, Doris. You've always got an ace up your sleeve somewhere.
Everybody's booked.
Sounds like you're trying to tell me something, Doris.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Billy, and good luck.
Wow.
Oh. So that's the way the world ends.
Very brilliant.
Cold.
Like to be.
Go on, Billy. Play some jazz. Play for it, Billy. But I ain't got no horn. That's God you get. That's God I hate that song. I've always hated that song. Shut up!
Billy? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting you out of here.
Why? Out. You don't think I fit?
Let's knock off the tough guy stuff, kiddo. This is serious material we're dealing with.
Who are you trying to convince?
They banged you up pretty bad, huh?
Not really. Just the sort of thing a bunch of wild and crazy guys do to you.
Billy, I wish there was some way I could make you take yourself seriously.
You can.
Joking again, huh?
No joking this time. Get me out of here before I go crazy for real. Now get me out of here. I'll take myself seriously.
It's already been taken care of. How could I possibly know that you were in a place like this and not come to the rescue?
I didn't know you cared about me.
Don't be dumb, Billy. I've always cared about you.
You know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
Nothing now. The first thing for you to think about is getting out of this place.
When?
Everything is being greased, and it'll take about a month for the pieces to slide together.
Let's skip all the jive, Doris. When will they unstrap my arms and let me out of this crazy house?
It has to be within a month, or else you won't be able to appear at the Tribute to Billy D. Burton concert.
What are you talking about?
A memorial concert for you.
Well, I thought you had to be dead before they pulled one of those cards out for you.
Well, let's face it. A lot of people do think you're dead.
I guess the concert would tell them that I'm not dead, huh?
I don't think it would hurt. In addition, it would be the opening round of a machine gun blast that I've prepared for the world. Billy D. Burton returns.
I've never been gone.
Yes, you have, kiddo. And I think the world at large would be very interested in your return.
I like this. I really do. Imagine coming out of a crazy house to blow people's minds. I'll never be the same.
That would be nice.
Let's hope so.
Lot of satire.
A lot of satire. Tongue in cheek.
It was truly a heavy scene. Heavy. Billy D. Burton, erratic great of the jazz horn, had gotten on a train somewhere in upstate Pennsylvania, smooth out of a drug and personal problems, returning home to star in a memorial concert to himself. That requires ego, of which Billy has not been noted to have any lack. We sat and waited anxiously at first, trading hip, sly little remarks at each other, dealing with Billy's return to the scene. His hassle in the madhouse, the 1,001 odd things we knew about him. The curtains shimmered, the cloth responding to the glittering anxiety seated before it. A pale rush of hot air being involuntarily exhaled toward the stage created the kind of feeling that made one feel as though one were present at the beginning gust of a hurricane. But Billy didn't show. The far-out people will talk about it for the rest of their lives. They'll pass it along to their children. The night Billy D. Burton didn't show up for his own birthday party, in a manner of speaking. For some of us, the beyond dealing with him on any other level.
Hey.
You look good for a while. The effort being made to do the right thing, the commitment that is necessary to any craft, even one touched by magic. A little bit like reading your own obituary, huh?
I like it.
He had been visiting for a couple of weeks before he died here. It was an unbelievable sort of spiritual happening. He was on the verge of finding himself in his music. You could tell from the level of maturity that was announced in his playing. It was as though all of his suffering and frustration had channeled themselves into a core. Something that made him less susceptible to criticism. He had been very disturbed by the Leo Leather column, in a way I'd never known him to be. In some distorted way, he seemed to feel that he was a folk hero of some sort, who was letting his side down. He was, in a sense, in training here when the attack came. His playing had reached that level of quality that the Spanish speak about when they say someone has duende. There is no literal translation for the word. It's beyond being merely soulful. Billy was there when the end came. He played before he died a few things he was working on. I remember the ending of one of his arias in brass. It seemed to sum up his whole life.
Want to get tough? Get Sears Tough Corn Bedspread in twin size, now just $10.99 through January 12th. You save $2. This is the minimum savings nationally. Regular prices vary in some markets. And you get Sears full 5-year warranty. So if your tough corn wears out within 5 years of purchase date, return it for a replacement or refund. So get tough. Get Tough Corn Bedspreads in your favorite colors now during Sears Rainbow White Sale.
Again, with feeling.
That's
right. Once more, Sears is clearing out women's wear in grand style. Dresses, sweaters, coats, sportswear, now at eye-catching savings. Why? Because they gotta go, that's why. So stop by Sears women's wear department soon while quantities last. You'll be glad you did. But hurry, cuz.
Available at most largest Sears retail stores.
Join millions of Americans and shop the easy way with a Sears credit card. To apply, just call toll-free 800-527-3592. It's your entry to shopping convenience and quality merchandise. Your card will be accepted at over 3,600 Sears stores across the nation. And you'll be able to choose from over 100,000 Sears products and services. Even use it for all your catalog orders, whether in-store or over the phone. Just say charge it. 800-527-3592. Texas residents call 800-492-5385 for your Sears credit card. It's how America shops.
The Sears Radio Theater has been brought to you by Sears Roebuck and Company. Our policy is satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Sears, where America shops for value. Billy D. Burton was written by Odie Hawkins, produced and directed by Fletcher Markle. Your hostess was Cicely Tyson. Our stars were Robert Dokey and Robin Braxton. Featured in the cast were Helen Martin, Stephen Markle, Byron Kane, Joan McCall, Ben Wright, Peggy Weber, and Jim Mapp. The music for for Sears Radio Theater was composed and conducted by Nelson Riddle. This is Art Gilmore speaking. The Elliott Lewis production of Sears Radio Theater is a presentation of CBI.
See you next Monday.
Usually I start a Carlton Oats commercial with a call by Radiant Pal in Detroit.
Monday.
And with that, we will have another radio on video.
Radio on video.
Yes, radio on video.
Radio on video.
Okay. Hope you enjoyed Billy D. Burton.
Enjoyed it.
And your website is www.odiehawkins.com. Books can be found on Amazon, or just Google Odie Hawkins. And you'll find lots of videos of my Odie. Okay. All right. Bye for now.